The watershed in the Gospel of St. Mark is here, in the passage where at last the mystery of Christ's person is unveiled. It is given to Simon, son of Jonah, to intuit and to declare the faith of the Church itself. What he is seeing is not a mere man, the Son of the living God. Possibly as a result of Mark getting his information from Peter, the complementary part is not added. We have it in full in Matthew. Here we have an abrupt change when Simon Peter is rebuked for his human vision of things, when after the declaration we have this warning that there will be suffering, an echo of the suffering servant of Isaiah, of whom the first reading speaks. Vision too human. It can also be our case. Indeed, do we not have the case of James and John, who seem to have ambition, and their mother comes and wants one to be at the right and one at the left of the Lord in his kingdom, thereby ousting out Simon Peter. They were probably aware that he was going to have that first place. So as early as that we have careerism entering into the life of the Church. And the Lord gives the correct leitmotif which has to come through all Christian spirituality: service, and therefore eclipse. We do not serve ourselves or use the Church so as to have a place. For the Son of Man gave himself as a ransom for many, and his glory was after the resurrection. Why should we want glory before our resurrection? With regard to James, it is interesting that he has the courage to show how ridiculous the situation of a person of sublime faith is, when actually he bypasses the immediate, as though one can live in the abstract and not see the concrete, missing the elephant in the room. It is not that it is either faith or works, but they are quite complementary. It is a forced dichotomy to juxtapose one to the other and place them in mutual exclusion. Indeed, one is the litmus test of the other. Sincerity outworks itself in sincerity with regard to rapport. E.g., if in church we do not see that we're hurting Jesus by hurting each other, then our faith is an illusion, at least on that point. And when in religious communities one sees that God is so well served, or so it is thought, that people are not taken as seriously as they might be, it is again a sign of illusion. When young people come in, a grace is coming in with them, and if all they can find is a spirit of status quo and a complete stonewalling of the intuitions and fervour that they might have, then the grace is lost. Either they will stay and become themselves in some way stagnant so as to fit in, or they will go away and the grace of renewal with them. I was talking to an Italian hermit some time ago, and she was saying In Italy, the old orders are dying, and the new ones, the new communities, have so many difficulties. Things often start well, but go terribly, terribly wrong. If a new community starts, it has to be anchored completely in the Lord and not in individual charisms that can actually be centre stage. The gospel and prayer. And what is the gospel? Love. And therefore, if there is not charity, we're wasting our time. With regard to St. James, he does say that actually we are invited to see in the other person the authenticity of our faith. This, on this Sunday, we can take with us, because if we're honest, we don't do that. For instance, the way that we handle people who are poor who come to us, is it not true that at that point at least, quite often, we treat them badly? It doesn't mean necessarily that we're easy to walk over and lacking in prudence, but as St. Benedict points out, there is a way of saying no well, and that bit we need to practice. We must never, ever take upon ourselves a word that the Lord would not take upon himself. Our witness as Christians essentially is that of doing what we're told by the Lord. With regard to creating our own system, which is defending itself, but not doing what we're told, then we're in danger. Concretely, in our time, what is the Lord wanting to do? Will he find also in our case a stone walling? Is it not a grace that his providence is allowing certain truths to emanate from underneath? There is nothing new right now in this week and these weeks, because things have been there. That is to say, the existence of evil underground is not new. The only new thing is that we're learning about it, and that the world is learning about it. What will we do? Will we carry on defending ourselves and pretending that nothing is wrong? The Lord has his hands bound until we free them, and we can only free them by allowing him to be Lord. That means in practice, what, Lord, do you want us to see and do? That seeking of career in the church is a complete misunderstanding of the nature of Christianity. The suffering servant was not one who was offering a career, but giving of oneself in self-denial.